So the new rules for compensating real estate agents are going to take a while for everybody to figure it out. Let me tell you the baseline. The real estate industry lost an antitrust case, essentially. And now if you're going to buy a home, you choose whether you're going to have a buyer's agent, and you choose what you're going to compensate that buyer's agent who takes you around. If I'm selling a place, I have what's known as a listing agent if I'm using a real estate agent to sell a property instead of doing for sale by owner. And so I hire a real estate agent, and before, what would happen, depending on where you were in the country, you would agree up front in that listing agreement to pay compensation of most often around the country 6% more or less. And that's what you would pay in commission. And the listing agent, in the contract between buyer and seller, the listing agent would then agree that they would split the commission with the buyer's agent. And so that was the point of the lawsuit, is that there was clear price fixing involved. Because commissions in the United States are not the highest in the world, but much higher than the average around the developed world. And so the idea of unbundling it, where a buyer decides how valuable it is to have an agent assisting you in buying a home. By the way, if you're a newbie at buying a home, or you're in a new area where you're buying a home, new part of the country, different state, whatever, the value of that buyer's agent whose experience will be enormous to you. But now you will decide. I have been involved in a real estate transaction since the rules changed. And I want to tell you, people are still feeling their way. And by people, I mean the professionals, the agents, are still trying to figure out how to adjust to this. And the reality is, working just like I had guessed months ago, is that agents are going to default to what they were used to, which is the 3 and 3. And it's going to take a while, and it will vary in different parts of the country, how quickly we really move to the system that the lawsuits were designed to bring into play, which is a seller will decide what commission is worth to the agent representing them, and buyers will decide what the buyer's agent is worth. What will happen in practice for a good while is agents are still going to try to, as part of the negotiation between buyer and seller, protect the buyer's agent in a commission paid by the seller. That is not the design of what's supposed to happen. And what will eventually emerge, and it will emerge, is there will be different business models that buyer's agents use, and different business models that listing agents use representing the seller. And the commissions will move around, and the forms of payment will change in how this works. So right now, if you are going out looking for a place to buy, you will be asked to sign a buyer's agent agreement. And in that agreement, you will be agreeing up front on you will compensate that buyer's agent taking you around at whatever commission or fee you are willing to do. Now, when a deal is made with a seller, it may be part of the negotiation that the seller absorbs both sides of that commission that was pre-agreed to. But that will be up to negotiation. It is not an edict anymore, and there's not price fixing anymore. And again, people are not used to this as consumers, because we very rarely buy a house or sell a house, most of us. And so this is going to be uncharted territory. But all you agree to up front as a seller is whatever commission you're agreeing up front to pay that agent you're hiring. The change is you as a buyer are going to have to agree up front what compensation, when that buyer's agent takes you to see a place, what you're going to pay them. And then that will ultimately come into the mix of the overall negotiations, and whether that money comes out of the hide of the seller only or the buyer and the seller will be part of that negotiating process.
All right.
I hope that made some sense. Since the last two times I've talked about it, people were not happy in the industry how I explained it.